we can just thank Clay's little welder. He has wizarded a additional brace and welded the shit out of it. It is still smoking. Welcome back to the car lab. And we have our piece for the other motor mount, which is there. We had to completely drill out that entire tower off of that cross member. We had to just shave that away. And this is the result of what we came up with. We're going to be using the stock motor mount to stock Miata, essentially the stock Miata motor mount piece, where it meets from the block to the motor mount. And that's going to meet, the motor mount is going to mount here to this, there you go, this hole. And then this bolt, which has been welded into this steel, is going to drill in down there. So that is soon. And then with that attached, the other motor mount is already attached. And then the transmission mount, and then just kind of miscellaneous fitting on down the drive shaft. This will be ready. Ready to move. It's physically, the drivetrain would be physically attached. Then it would be time to wire everything up. As you can tell, I am so looking forward to that. And additionally, just move the car out into the world again. In prep for that, there are several spots. I need to paint this with, actually I'm just going to go with this touch-up paint that I got when I got bits and pieces of this paint touched up a couple years ago. And then just crack open my can of UV protective POR 15 here, which, as you can tell by its relative undamagedness, hasn't been opened yet. And I'm just going to be coating the underside of this for good measure, for safety. With this, probably don't need to, but whatever. And then that frame rail, things like that, things that are going to be touching sunlight, but also things that aren't, just because I'm paranoid. I have been thinking about painting these as well. The other one looks like it's a bit of a pain in the ass to get off, but honestly, I don't think that's too bad. I think I'm just going to do it, just for safety. And also because, historically, I've poured way too much out from the can every time. And then, like, well, shit, what do I do with the rest of this? I can't put it back. It's been contaminated, so I'm just going to dump it. So I think I will just do that. And without further ado, let's just get going. For posterity's sake, and because I had to take this out anyway, for unrelated reasons, wanted to show y'all what the two motor mount, these aren't motor mounts, these are like adapter plates for the motor mount on both sides. What we did, have them together again. So this would be the driver's side if you are a left-hand drive automobile, like Tomo is, because I live in America. So the left-hand side, was tons of room to work. Obviously, there's just not a whole lot over there interfering with, the block. It's weird how Miata engines, all of the accessories are on the passenger side. But so yeah, it's just really just a big steel plate, way thicker than what was stock. I have the stock pieces, but I'm not gonna dig them out right now. I'm just that lazy. But call this about at least twice as thick as stock, if not more. And yeah, it was just this plate here, this big old plate, attaching itself to the block, and then you have this truss, which my brother made out of just thick steel. And then, of course, our welder Joe welded rather well. It connects to the motor mount here, which goes to the stock motor mount position, which is fun. Then we go to the passenger side, which obviously we had way less room to work with. And so what we ended up doing was, instead of fabricating a truss piece, we just used the stock truss piece, like from the block to the motor mount itself. And then this is in place of, I'd call it the cross member tower. It comes up from the cross member at the bottom of the engine, and there's a bolt in it, which goes to the motor mount like this. And so on this side, it was just kind of, okay, here's our motor mount. This is goes to the bottom of the cross member after we removed the stock tower, and just we have hopes that this is going to hold itself together. But we do have to remember that this is about as thick as stock, to be fair. This is about twice as thick. Actually, no, I think this is thicker than stock, but this is definitely a lot thicker than stock. This is thick steel my brother appropriated from his paper mill, and there's hair there. Yeah, so naturally, there's really only one way to really tell for sure if this is gonna work. I have a lot of confidence in this because it's so massive and overbuilt and huge. This maybe not so much, but I did look it up. A 1.6 B6 ZE Mazda engine for the Miata is it's 270 pounds, 260, 270, something like that, which is a lot, but, that's not that much more than what I weigh. If I put on some weight, maybe I'd weigh that much. And then the transmission is about 90 pounds. So, it's like, it is too big unless you're, I don't know, the Hulk or something to lift up on your own, but it's not that much bigger than that, not that much more massive. Between these two and the stock transmission mount, I think it's going to be fine. It's not that much to hold up at the end of the day. And we'll be doing very well, of course, just, holding this all together. But yes, my plan today is to, in addition to sealing off those pieces, I'm just going to use the excess paint and just paint these black with POR 15, because while our welder did go ahead and just primer these pieces for us very handily, there's some places where it's not quite, not quite covered, and I just felt the need to just slap on more. Mostly it's to get rid of extra paint, but in all honesty, it's I think it'll make sure that these don't rust out in the same way that my spacers for my front shock towers, which are from the Narek 7, have kind of rusted out, because they just kind of slap some very basic black paint on there. So yeah, it's just, a fun little aside while I wait for my brother to help me finalize this. Yes, he has drilled a hole in the crossmember there. Yes, so you were just telling me the piece there has to be bolted to that motor mount because there's just no way to get in there once it's bolted in.
It's true.
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, yeah, and then you're gonna place that entire apparatus on there.
We'll put that on.
So that is a blending of two different pieces of hardware. So it's the Miata, stock Miata adapter for the block going to the stock 626 Capella motor mounts.
And then our custom toy.
And our custom toy, which I've PR15'd.
Yeah.
So it'll be
This is a piece of my own design.
yes, your design. Yours, not mine. So if it breaks, it's all your fault.
So I got a lock nut.
Okay.
Little plastic stuff in there, and then I'm gonna put a lock washer and a fat ass washer and another fat ass washer. So it's gonna be conjoined to the frame.
But yes, that piece that you just saw is going there, as you know, because I've been doing much here. God help me. I mean, yeah. I'm just thinking, hey, I want to replace that. And that, the starter motor, going to be virtually impossible to do these things. But, nevertheless, this will be together today. Yes, that's how it'll look. Tain't pretty, but... So, we discovered that we need to cut into this piece just because this bit is going to collide with the steering rack.
Better safe than sorry.
Exactly, and it's just both of our concern here is that you know, oh no, you know, there's not enough steel there to reinforce that.
Hold the bitch up.
But I mean, there's really no other alternative. What we're thinking of doing is
on here again?
putting another piece
Yes.
here to just kind of reinforce the crap out of this component. But, you know, again, this is twice as thick as what, you know, the factory would have used. So, you know...
What are you thinking of doing? Cutting the piece out?
We're cutting this out. And then we're going to...
Can you? Oh, no, you wouldn't want to do that. Or you can't do that. You can't put a plate here from here. A little short
Well, we're
one.
thinking of doing one like here.
Oh.
I mean, it's not as
Well,
graceful as otherwise, but I mean, at this
just
point, we have no
spot welding
choice.
not during the wheel weld.
Well, I'm thinking actually we should take it to Joe. What do you think, Clay?
Probably take it to Joe.
Just because it's
Yeah, but now it's coated completely in PR15.
I know.
But he does that pretty quickly, right?
Yeah. We can just thank Clay's little welder. Ooh. He has wizarded a additional brace and welded the shit out of it. It is still smoking. And he ingested quite a bit of PR15 smoke, and I'm sorry, but I thought, hey, we don't do nothing. But good news is, because oh, that's ripe. Good news is, he reckons we don't need to take this to the welder because he's just kind of sandwiched so much weld onto this piece. I'm going to ask him potentially if maybe he could fill that bit up, just, you know, to kind of have additional bracing there. But maybe it isn't even needed. Just weld the crap out of it. I mean, it remains to be seen if this is even going to work, if that bolt is going to snap, etc., etc. But you figure between the 3 points, it's almost 400 pounds. not quite 400 pounds, but almost 400 pounds. And I mean, that's like, what, 133 pounds on each point. You know, yeah, it's jiggling around a lot, but that's what the motor mount's job is. So, you know, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. And also, please take note of my brother's ingenious electrical solution. I have no idea how many watts that's pulling, but I'm sure it's a lot more than you need, than what you should be plugging into just a regular power strip. But, you know, he's been doing this a while, and that thing hasn't melted yet, and it's still running the 8 tracks, so I think we'll be okay.
In here, so I just welded on top of POR 15.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Which I'm going to do a little test here. If I can get my clamp on this.
Careful.
Here.
So what I didn't notice was that earlier was that you did this piece, and then you did this piece, which is a piece that you found on the ground.
Yeah.
Which you've just welded over POR 15. God damn it. Let's see. On camera. We set on it with all our strength. That's about as much pressure as it
Yeah, that kind of broke it, actually.
did it. Shit.
I'll get a little bit more on there. This, though, that's the one that we need sitting there nice and tight, and they're not cracking. This is good. And it's still warm. I didn't even let it cool down yet, so.
Jesus Christ. Should we? I don't know, man. Should we go to Joe? We probably should, but we'll let you know later. Yeah, we're not going to. You joined me for a late night paint session. I'm gonna give this one more coat of paint. That is POR 15, and this which is Clayton's handiwork. I had painted it all pretty like, and now it's not because he had to weld things. But yes, and additionally, this is the result of his welding. We had to chop this off, as you know, so that the steering rack could have some clearance. I'm actually going to put this down onto its spot and see if the steering rack even has clearance. I say we have mission accomplished. That is going to be light there. That is going to be plenty out of the way of the steering rack, even if it pushes all the way over to the edge over there. It's just, you know, there's clearance now. Yeah, that hole for the motor mount is, you know, dangerously unsupported, or at least it looks like it from this side. We just hope that brace on the other side is going to be enough. Yeah. But, yeah, now it's time to scrape off some of the old paint, as much as I can get off, and then re-pour 15 it, and take the opportunity to do the same thing to the other side as well. Well, you did this behind my back. That's a regret, but it's in now. Holy cow. And now we're on to the transmission mount, which is going to fit-ish. It's at least going to be holding the transmission in at the same spot. We just need to make it... We need to shim it so it's not going to dance around under there.
We'll shim it so it actually holds on. Right
Yeah.
now the holes in.
Yeah. But that's in.
Unless someone just drill a hole into this.
It's beautiful. Wouldn't that be the funniest fucking thing in the universe if we used those? Those are lawnmower blades. We need an L-shaped bracket to interface the Miata's. Here's my advanced diagram. Miata's bolts to the stock 626's transmission mount. It'll all fit. It's just a little. We just need a little L. Yes, that's exactly how we'll do it. Exactly.
I mean, why not?
So, we got, or Clay got, the motor mounts in behind my back. The engine appears to be more or less level. At this point, I'm just like, let it be. If I have to replace that, that's going to be a colossal pain in the ass. But apart from that, it's in. Oh man, it's going to be fun to try and work all these things out. But it is in. And that is a major step forward. Now we need to work on the transmission mount, which I have to get into the car to explain to you about. But we're going to be taking a piece of metal like this. In fact, it will be this piece of metal. And we're going to be effectively making a plate to adapt 2 bolts from the Miata transmission over to the 2 bolts that the motor mount for the transmission plugs into. And, you know, stock 626 only has 1 transmission mount. Miata, it's like it bolts into this scaffolding thing, and that is, you know, it's much more rigid because that's what it's designed for. This, I've only got this to deal with. But the drive shaft does have its own little mount, which it is plugged into. But yes, in preparation for that, I'm cleaning that motor mount piece. Man, I'm so excited. It's finally in. I finally can return this to my brother's friend. While he grinds away like a MMO RPG player.
I need you to find all the hardware for that transmission mount.
Yes. Interestingly, he's decided to go with this old lawnmower blade piece because that's preferable.
It's pretty thick steel.
It's thick. I think it'll be thick enough. That's what? Oh, that's a lot thicker than I thought. That's like 1/16 of an inch.
Still thinner than that, which I didn't want to have to cut that.
Right.
But a lot thinner than this.
Yeah.
Which, this was not going to sandwich in there.
It was just too big. Alright, even with adjusting this like this, it's just not long enough. It's barely too short. The great thing would be if I could mount this like so, and that's kind of what I'm planning on doing, thinking of fabricating a piece, and then just having it go yonder there. Apart from that, it should work. I have already decided I'm not going to be using this configuration. It's too taut, but it does work, which is rather exciting. Watch that.
See that thing? It's moving because my foot is moving.
Witness. My foot moves. Now, that is way too hair trigger. I mean, maybe some Miata bro would really dig that. But I don't know. It is coming back though, so I would have to fiddle with this a hell of a lot. But the throttle is connected, and I'm so happy. And also, it almost goes without saying that the Miata's throttle works this way. This is to be pulled on by that linkage, which goes to the accelerator pedal. So, I'm assuming this is for the cruise control, because this car did come with cruise control that this engine came out of. So, you have to, that's not what we're using. That is what we're using. So it's, tricky, painful, tricky, mostly tricky. Okay, let me just lean in here and finally tell you what's been going on down here. There we go. My roller thing is working well. So this is the stock transmission mount. You're just gonna push that up there. Oh, something like that. That's how it's supposed to go. It's not tightened down, obviously, and one of the mounts is actually missing. It's just there for placement at the moment. As you can see, and probably in a previous Yonder video back in the day when this had a different drivetrain in it, you knew that these two holes are where this truss, this mount, hooks on to the stock transmission. Now the Miata, of course, has this scaffolding aluminum piece, it's literally like a trussel bridge, that goes all the way back to the diff in the back, which of course Tomo does not have. So, and that's why you have two bolts here. One is no flashlight. All right. There, it's back. Okay. One is there, and the other is back there. There you go. It's actually flush. It's just an effective light and shadow there. But those two bolts are flush there, and then you have these two bolts back here. So, Mazda knew what they were doing. They were trying to accommodate this, even from stock, to be rather rigid, also super leggera because of the truss, and so on, to try and have rigidity with the frame. There's my brother leaving for work. And so, yeah, that's two bolts more than stock first gen 626, which is interesting.
I
Now,
got it down to a science.
what?
Camaro.
Yeah.
I know I started it up one time, it stays running.
Anyway, so that's 4 bolts, 2 more than what a stock 626 would have for a transmission mount. So our original plan was to use a large piece of steel and just drill a bunch of holes in it so that these and these would be accommodated. The problem with that is the transmission has a lot of grooves in it in the bottom of there, and also it's in a weird angle, and at the end of the day, the angle of this is not parallel with this per se, and at the end of the day, of course, there's just not enough room between this and that in order to fit the piece of steel we had in mind. Now, I'm trying to get my brother to fetch another piece of steel that might be a different size, but our prospects are not great. Actually, I just thought of something else, honestly. What if we just fabricated a piece of steel that went in place of this and had bolt holes there? That is an extremely good idea. I'm going to put that to my brother sooner rather than later. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. You join me under the car one more time. I don't really know why he didn't like it. I think he just didn't want to look at... he didn't want to go find a big hunk of steel, per se, but I still think that's a better idea. Just, let's take a large piece of steel, drill 5 holes in it, and call it a day. However, he was not too receptive of that. It doesn't need to be that thick, though. I mean, look at how thin that is. He cited Jay Leno, of course. These guys went to college. They know what they're doing. Yes. However, I just want to do that. But barring that, our other plan, apart from having one piece from the far bolt there to this bolt there on the transmission, we were thinking of having, he was just good with, oh, it's like a Monte Carlo bar. Take a piece, stretch it from that bolt. Obviously, we're going to have like a long bolt that goes down and then make that level, and stretching over to those bolt holes. I still like the big hunk of steel idea. Way better. And I hope he agrees with me. But, yeah, this is kind of the thing. It's like, yes, all it is this, and then you come to a setback of like, well, it actually needs to work, and this is every car project ever.